The kids have a message for you.
They just like...
Thank you for being the father that I never had.
Before the fame, the fortune, the stadiums, and red carpets, there was a teacher. Someone who believed when no one else did. Someone who saw something special before the world caught on. And when these stars finally reunite with them, the moments are unforgettable. This is what happens when celebrities meet old teachers from their past.
Ask a favor from me because I'd like to try and find someone in the audience. Okay? So we're gonna get really quiet. And I'm gonna see if I can locate this person, if you don't mind helping me.
Harry Styles is mid-concert at a packed Manchester stadium with 74,000 people screaming, and he stops everything to find one person, his first ever teacher from primary school. This was June 15th, 2022, at a homecoming show for Harry in Manchester. Harry had grown up just around the corner in Cheshire, and someone told him his old teachers might be there, and he wasn't about to let that slide. So mid-show, he's scanning this ocean of people trying to spot Mrs. Vernon, the woman who taught him when he was 4 years old.
Mrs. Vernon! How are you? I heard you're retiring.
He thinks he finds her, calls out this sweet thank you speech about those formative years, even jokes. Can you imagine dealing with me when I was 4?
I'd just like to thank you for everything in those formative years. And yeah, thank you so much. It means a lot to me that you're here tonight.
Then dedicates his next song to her, but there was a plot twist as it was actually her colleague, Mrs. Bailey. But Bailey recorded the whole thing and sent it to Vernon anyway. Later, Vernon went on BBC Radio and said Harry was a delight with a cheeky sparkle in his eye. And honestly, that tracks. After all, the guy stopped an entire stadium show to thank his kindergarten teacher. That's the Harry Styles we know, and it's exactly why people love him. But finding your teacher in a crowd is one thing. What happens when one of the biggest action stars on the planet finds out this high school teacher is retiring and decides to send them off with a message they'll never forget?
Hey Carol, Dwayne Johnson here. I wanted to take a moment to say congratulations. Congratulations, Carol, for your retirement.
May 2020, Carol Probst had just wrapped up 39 years as an English teacher at Virginia High School. She was retiring, and honestly, she had one dream left, getting an autograph from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. She was a huge fan, always had been. So one of her colleagues, Noah Ashbrook, shot his shot on Twitter, told The Rock about this amazing teacher, and asked the internet to help get his attention. And here's the thing, it actually worked. The Rock didn't just notice. He sent her a full video message and a care package with bottles of his own tequila. In the video, he's congratulating her, thanking her for nearly 4 decades of shaping kids' lives, joking that he would have needed a lot of her discipline if she'd been his teacher. Then he tells her they'll share a shot together one day.
Carol, I say thank you. Thank you, and thank all of your fellow teachers for your wisdom, for your love, for your care, for your discipline.
They filmed Carol watching it, and her reaction was pure joy. The Rock later saw the video and said, "This is the best part of fame." And you know what? Moments like this prove it. A video message is incredible, but sometimes a celebrity takes it even further, like when an NFL legend heard about a retiring teacher and decided a message wasn't enough. He showed up in person.
What are you doing in the hallway?
What are you doing here?
I can't hug you, I got a cake. How are you?
What's going on?
We brought a cake.
For what?
April 2017, Judy Keefe is teaching 4th grade in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, just a regular day, when JJ Watt walks through the door, cake in hand, and the kids absolutely lose it. Here's why this hits. 20 years ago, Watt was sitting in her classroom telling her he was going to play for the Wisconsin Badgers and make it to the NFL. And Keefe had believed in him. She encouraged him. Now he's a 4-time Pro Bowler, and she's retiring after 41 years. So Watt shows up with cake, a gift, and an invitation to his charity softball game. They hug, catch up, and then Keefe introduces him to her current students. She points at Watt and says, "Look where he is now. You can do whatever you want to do." And that's when her eyes start tearing up.
Remember when he was your age, he looked up at me with those baby blues. I don't have it. And what he said to me, he said, I want to be a badger. I said, boy, you're going to have to work hard.
They cut the cake together and serve it to the kids, who are absolutely vibrating with excitement. Watt even streamed the whole thing on Facebook Live. That's how you honor the teacher who believed in you first. And when you're one of the greatest athletes of all time, there's a special kind of power in going back to honor the teacher who believed in you. And this athlete does it as well.
I chose to come here today because it was an opportunity to make a connection that I hadn't made in 30 years.
Venus Williams walks back into the life of Ms. Judy Villegas, her first grade teacher from Mark Twain Elementary in California. It's Teacher Appreciation Month, and Venus is here to honor the woman who changed everything for her. Venus said about her, "I felt inspired. I felt nourished. You can tell there's love in her heart." The reunion is heartwarming, and then Ms. Villegas reveals something even more incredible. After the 1986-87 school year ended, she knew she wanted to keep one specific student file, the one marked Williams Venus. Think about that. Ms. Villegas taught hundreds of kids over 30+ years, but she looked at 6-year-old Venus and thought, I need to remember this one. She saw something before Venus won her first Grand Slam, before she became a legend, before any of it. Now Venus is back, decades later, making sure Ms. Villegas knows she made a difference.
My God, it says, you are a star. Thank you for all that you've done to help me rise. Oh my goodness. This means the world.
That's the power of a teacher who sees you. Now, some celebrities keep it private and heartfelt. Others bring the cameras, the chaos, and thousands of screaming fans. Guess which route this internet superstar took when he decided to visit his old school?
I don't know.
How did we go to the school, y'all?
September 2025, with 40 million Instagram followers, nearly 44 million YouTube subscribers, IShowSpeed rolls up to his old high school in Cincinnati with cameras rolling and the entire internet watching. This is day 13 of his Streamin' America tour, and he's taking everyone back to where it all started. He walks into Purcell Marion High School, and it's instant pandemonium. Students literally abandoned their lessons to mob him. He makes sure to see his favorite teacher, who taught him Spanish and stayed in touch with him over the years.
What is going on?
My Spanish teacher.
My worst student.
Oh, don't say that. I miss you.
So good to see you.
Oh my God.
He also caught up with his football coach, buying school merch and eating in the cafeteria. He says, I'm back to the castle. You can tell the nostalgia is hitting. Then he heads to his elementary school, Cincinnati College Prep, where they gift him a custom Letterman jacket with photos from when he was a kid. The whole thing is this beautiful collision of his past and present, with intimate teacher reunions happening while thousands of fans are losing their minds in real time. Oh, and someone brought him Gripos, his favorite childhood chips. Speed's response was, hell yeah. Because that's the energy, from Cincinnati to the Bronx. Because when a Grammy-winning rapper decides to pull up to her old school unannounced, you better believe the entire building is about to lose it.
Keep your voices down.
Cardi B casually walks back into Renaissance High School for musical theater and the arts in the Bronx, and she's there for one person, Miss Hill, her AP government teacher and one of her fiercest defenders. Here's a little backstory. When people online started criticizing Cardi for talking politics in 2019, Miss Hill went full mama bear on social media. She posted this iconic defense, saying Cardi probably scored higher than most of her critics on the US History Regents exam, reminding everyone she was in AP government and ending with STFU and take a seat. That's Teacher of the Year energy right there. So Cardi apparently never forgot that and always appreciated Miss Hill. During the school visit, Cardi said that Ms. Hill was always in her head.
I know that she's strict, but every single day and to this day in my life, Ms. Hill is always in my head. As I grew up, older, she used to always be in my head.
And honestly, Miss Hill definitely earned it. She believed in Cardi before the world knew her name, defended her when people doubted her intelligence, and clearly left a mark that still guides her. That's the kind of teacher you never forget. Sometimes the visit isn't about one teacher, it's about giving back to the whole place that shaped you. Like when a global pop star decided to return to her old school with more than just memories.
Welcome back to your old school.
I haven't been back probably since I left, so a long time.
So the kids don't know you're here.
Okay.
The head teacher, Rob, knows you're here.
Have you met him?
I've met Rob.
Okay, he was my year 6 teacher.
March 2024, Dua Lipa walks back into her old primary school with BBC Radio 1's Greg James, and she's got unfinished business. Back when she was a student here, she auditioned for the lead in the school play and didn't get it.
It is my job to tell you about the twists and turns of the past and how they affect our present. When you wrote that note, you signed Mr. Netherby's death warrant.
So her old teacher, Rob, pulls out footage of young Dua in the role she didn't want and then does something genius. He invites her to audition for the lead again, right there in front of the year 6 students, who have no idea what's about to happen. The kids are working on their own auditions when Dua walks in, and the reaction is pure chaos in the best way.
Welcome back to Class 6, Dua Lipa.
But here's what makes this special. It's not just a celebrity drop-in. It's Dua coming full circle, proving that the kid who didn't get the part went on to become one of the biggest pop stars on the planet. Sometimes you don't need the lead role. You just need to keep going. And speaking of full circle moments, what happens when a Disney Channel kid who grew up in front of millions decides to go back to where it all began? Before the fame, before the cameras, before everything changed.
Hello, students of Danny Jones Middle School. This is Selena Gomez talking to you.
Selena Gomez just casually walks into Danny Jones Middle School in Texas, and students are losing their minds in the hallways and classrooms. She's filming a documentary about her childhood, passing through the area, and decides, why not pop into my old school? She's showing her best friend and her team where she grew up, reconnecting with teachers who remember her as this quiet, kind 7th grader. And here's the kicker, her old basketball coach recalls the day Selena told her she was withdrawing to move to Florida.
I said, how come? And she said, I'm just going to be in a little Disney film. And I said, oh, okay.
The coach thought she was exaggerating, as all middle schoolers do. Then she saw Selena's name scroll by in a Disney movie's credits. Now Selena's got American Music Awards, MTV VMAs, and a career most people only dream about. But she's back in those hallways telling students it's really hard, but it's worth it. And be kind to someone.
And you see them eating alone like I did when I was here. Just to say hi and just encourage them in their schoolwork and know that.
That's the advice that sticks. And now sometimes it's not the celebrity doing the surprising, it's the teacher. And when your old teacher shows up with something to say, you better believe it's going to hit different.
Oh my gosh, Sister Bio. Oh. Hi, Sister Bio. Hello. Oh, I'm so happy to meet you.
Lady Gaga is sitting down with Katie Couric, dodging questions about her love life like a pro when the interview gets interrupted. Out of nowhere, Sister Angela Baio, her elementary school teacher from Convent of the Sacred Heart, just walks on set. Gaga's face was pure shock and joy. This is the woman who taught her as a little kid, and suddenly she's reminiscing about lining up in the front hall every morning in their petticoats, excited just to see Sister Baio.
We'd all line up in our little petticoats, and I'd kiss you and say, good morning, Sister Bio, and then I'd walk along.
Sister Baio is beaming, talking about how proud she is of everything Gaga's accomplished and the love she's spread through her work.
Oh, something about it, love that frees you and allows you to just...
And the sense of loving other people,
I told
right?
you they were amazing teachers.
And honestly, this might be the best interview dodge of all time. Katie Couric asks about romance, and instead, we get this beautiful reunion about the kind of love that actually shaped Gaga's life. That's the power of a teacher who believed in you. And sometimes, a teacher doesn't just believe in you, they're the reason you discovered your gift in the first place. Like the teacher who heard something special in a shy little girl and refused to let her stay quiet.
Really shy. My mother put me and my sister in dance classes, and my dance teacher, her name was Miss Darlette. She was like, baby, sing for me. I heard you over there singing to the track. Sing for me. And I did, and she was like, "You can really sing."
2006, Beyonce was on Ellen for the first time, just doing a normal interview when Ellen pulled one of her classic surprises. She brought out Mrs. Darlette Johnson-Bailey, Beyonce's very first dance instructor from Houston. The second Beyonce saw her, her face broke into joy. This is the woman who discovered her. Mrs. Johnson-Bailey was teaching little Beyonce to dance when she heard her sing and immediately went to Matthew and Tina Knowles and said, "Your daughter can really sing. You need to do something about this."
I mean, I just see that video and I knew from little bitty she would be a star. I always told her. I knew it.
Pretty smart lady.
Think about that. Without Mrs. Johnson-Bailey recognizing that voice and pushing her parents to nurture it, we might not have Beyonce as we know her. No Destiny's Child, no Crazy in Love, no Coachella, none of it. The emotion on Beyonce's face says everything. This is the teacher who changed her life, who saw something in a little girl from Houston and refused to let it go unnoticed. That's the moment that started every. Full Circle doesn't even cover it. But what happens when a Hollywood A-lister tracks down the teacher who taught him everything about performance and shows up to say thank you in the most unexpected way possible?
It's so fantastic to reunite with the people that matter most to you in your life. And I'm going to do that today. And you may be...
Hugh Jackman is hiding in a stairwell in the back of a New York theater, and he's about to ambush his old acting teacher, Chris Edmonds. Here's the setup. MasterCard flew Chris from Australia to New York under the pretense that he was going to teach a master class. He has no idea Hugh is even in the country. Hugh waits until the perfect moment, then walks in mid-class.
Do you mind if I interrupt?
No, no.
Chris is stunned. They haven't seen each other in 20 years. 20 years since Hugh graduated from the West Australian Academy of Performing Arts.
I've been working for 20 years and there is not a day, and I have to let you know what your teaching has meant to me. Because I would never be here in my career without you and Lyle and the other teachers at the West Australian Academy of Performing Arts.
Then comes the real surprise. Hugh announces he's created the Chris Edmonds Performing Arts Scholarship so other students can have the same opportunity he had. Chris can barely speak.
This was kind of the best surprise I could possibly have.
And this is where it hits. Hugh didn't just show up, he made sure his teacher's legacy continues forever. Sometimes the message doesn't come in person. Sometimes it's a note that arrives at just the right moment when a rising star needs to hear from the teacher who always knew he'd make it. It's Oscars night 2025. Timothée Chalamet is on the red carpet, nominated for Best Actor, when Access Hollywood shows him a video message from Harry Schiffman, his high school drama teacher from LaGuardia.
Well, pal, you've earned your keep and the recognition of your artistry in bringing humanity to life with wit and passion and grace.
He continues by telling him to keep doing what he's doing, to take it all in, feel it, and bring us more of what it means to be human. Timothée's response was pure gratitude.
Keep a good head and always carry a light bulb.
Amazing. Thank you. Timothy. That means the world. Thanks. Thank you for organizing.
But here's what makes this hit. Years ago, when Timothée auditioned for LaGuardia, the school initially rejected him. Schiffman was so shocked that he interrupted a meeting with the principal and basically said, "This is a student we must have. This is a real actor." So basically, he had fought for Timothée when no one else did. Now Schiffman's watching his former student walk red carpets, play Bob Dylan, win SAG awards. And on one of the biggest nights of Timothée's career, he's the one sending that message of pride. That's a teacher who saw it first. And speaking of teachers who saw it first, what if your high school teacher watched you create Hamilton, win a Pulitzer Prize, and basically rewrite Broadway history? And then, during an interview, did they remind you where it all began?
So, Lynn, this is your old English teacher, Dr. Herbert here.
2019, Lin-Manuel Miranda is on CBS This Morning talking about bringing Hamilton to Puerto Rico when they surprise him with a video message. It's from Dr. Rembert Herbert, his 8th grade English teacher.
Congratulations. I've heard a lot about what you're doing in Puerto Rico, and I wish you well in those endeavors and continued great success down there.
You can see that as the second Dr. Herbert's face appears on screen, Lin-Manuel is already crying, and here's why. Back in 8th grade, Lin-Manuel wrote a musical instead of doing his homework for Dr. Herbert's class. Most teachers would have been furious, but Dr. Herbert said, "You could be good at this. Stop hibernating in my class and go do theater." That one nudge changed everything.
Very good. I heard one of the first people to say, "Your work is worthy and we pick you." Yeah, Dr. Herbert's the reason I'm sitting here talking to you.
Without that teacher telling a kid to chase the thing he was actually passionate about, there's no Hamilton, no Pulitzer, no Broadway Revolution. Dr. Herbert remembered a student who chose music over homework and saw genius instead of defiance. That's a teacher who gets it. And if you think these reunions are emotional, wait until you see what happens when the most powerful woman in media, someone who surprised countless people on her own show, gets surprised herself by the teacher who changed her life.
Today on The Oprah Winfrey Show, we're going to be reuniting people with their favorite teacher, some who have not seen each other for 10, 20, and even 30 years. But first, I'd like to tell you about my favorite teacher.
1989, Oprah is hosting her show, reading the teleprompter like any other day when she sees the next guest's name. Welcome, Mary Duncan.
Mary Duncan. Mrs. Duncan! Mrs. Duncan!
Her eyes fill with tears immediately because Mary Duncan is Mrs. Duncan, her 4th grade teacher from Wharton Elementary in Nashville, the woman she hasn't seen since she was a kid. As a child, Oprah never thought about Mrs. Duncan having a life beyond their classroom, but 4th grade with Mrs. Duncan was the year everything changed for her. For the first time, she wasn't afraid to be smart. Mrs. Duncan stayed after school to work with her, believed in her, and saw her. Oprah once thought she'd become a 4th grade teacher herself. Instead, she became Oprah. And after all those years, she finally got to say thank you on national television. Sometimes the student becomes the teacher, but you never forget the one who started it all. And here's the thing about teachers. Sometimes they're the ones who see potential in the kid everyone else has written off. The troublemaker, the one who's struggling. And when that kid makes it out, the reunion hits different. Boosie Badazz is at the Louisiana First News studio when his favorite high school teacher walks through the door. The rapper is visibly shocked and she immediately wraps him in a hug.
I know I'm gonna cry. How are you? They just told me last night.
Boosie totally breaks with full tears as she tells everyone in the room, "This was my baby, I love you." Later, Boosie posts the moment on Instagram with the caption, "Saw my favorite teacher today, and I cried like a baby. I love her so much, she always believed in me." And that last part, "she always believed in me," tells you everything, because here's a rapper from Baton Rouge who's been through it all, and when he sees the teacher who never gave up on him, he's right back to being that kid who just needed someone to believe. That belief never leaves you. But let's be real for a second. Not every teacher's story ends with tears of joy and gratitude. Sometimes the teacher who sticks with you is the one who didn't believe, the one who told you that you'd never make it. And sometimes proving them wrong becomes the fuel that drives you forward.
Teacher called me to the front of the class. I'm thinking, I'm going up here to get a gold star. I ain't never had one before. My answer must have been really good. That lady didn't call me up there to give me no gold star. She called me up there to humiliate me.
Steve Harvey is in 6th grade with a severe stutter when his teacher gives the class an assignment. Write down what you want to be when you grow up. Steve writes that he wants to be on TV. His teacher ridicules him in front of the entire class. Then she calls his parents and says he's being a smart aleck. She thought his dream was ridiculous. A kid with a stutter wanting to be on television.
She said, who in the school ever been on TV? Who in your family ever been on TV? Who in this neighborhood ever been on TV? She said, look at you standing there. You can't even talk.
But Steve's father encouraged him to keep going, and Steve never forgot that teacher or what she said. Years later, after he became one of the biggest names in entertainment, he did something absolutely brilliant.
Every Christmas, I send her a flat screen TV.
Let that sink in. Every single year, a reminder that the kid she laughed at made it. Not out of spite, out of proof. Sometimes the best response to doubt is success. But for every teacher who doubts, there's one who protects. One who steps in when a kid is being torn down. And sometimes that intervention changes everything.
say kids are going back to school, so it's kind of about setting the tone around anti-bullying and kind of, you know, putting people at ease.
2024, Will Poulter is on BBC's The One Show, talking about his support for an anti-bullying campaign when the host asks if he experienced bullying himself. He admits he did, and then credits one person who helped him through it, his math teacher.
I think I witnessed a good amount of bullying when I was at school, which is unfortunate. And I did thankfully have a teacher who was very kind of active in the space, trying to sort of run programs that kind of were modeled around sort of peer-to-peer mentorship.
The host says, speaking of good teachers, and suddenly Miss Moran appears on screen with a message for him. Will's face immediately changes.
Will, I know how difficult things were for you at school, and I just want you to know how unbelievably proud I was of you then and continue to be today. You're a true inspiration and will always have my active support. Thanks for being you.
Will is fighting back tears. Here's a kid who struggled with dyslexia and dyspraxia, who was bullied, who could have been broken by it all. But Miss Moran stepped in. She was very active in that space, as Will puts it, meaning she actually did something about it. Now he's a Hollywood actor, and he still gets emotional talking about the teacher who protected him when he needed it most. And sometimes protection isn't about stopping bullies. It's about seeing a struggle no one else notices, like when a kid can't read but is too afraid or ashamed to ask for help, and one teacher refuses to let them slip through the cracks.
And you was like the most consistent, constant thing in my world next to my grandma. And I'm so grateful for you. I'm so glad God made you. And thank you so much for being kind.
2024, Tiffany Haddish is on The View for Teacher Appreciation Day, telling a story about her 9th grade drama teacher, Mrs. Grebe. Tiffany was good at hiding it, good at pretending, but Mrs. Grebe figured out that she couldn't read. So Mrs. Grebe had her come to class during lunch and those 15-minute breaks. She'd sit with Tiffany, give her magazines and newspapers, and teach her. By the end of the semester, Tiffany was reading. Then Sarah Haynes says, "Sounds like a reunion's a little overdue," and Mrs. Grebe walks out. Tiffany hasn't seen her in person in 25 years, and she's immediately in tears.
Thank you so much for being patient with me. Thank you so much for always encouraging me and taking time with me and listening to me. And you have no idea, like during that time, I was really struggling a lot.
Think about that. A kid who couldn't read in high school becomes a New York Times best-selling author and a comedy star because one teacher took 15 minutes at lunch. That's the difference one person can make. And sometimes it goes even deeper than that. Sometimes a teacher or a school counselor literally saves a life. When a kid is at their lowest point and one person steps in and says, "I see you. You matter. Don't give up."
Jack, look!
Travis Scott is backstage at Revention Music Center when his mom brings someone in, Sarah Fuller Luna, his high school guidance counselor from Elkins High. Travis lets out a scream. He can't believe it.
Yo, I could graduate school. Blessings for this girl right here, this lady. Oh my God, she saved my life in high school, like real life.
His mom is in tears, as this was the woman who first told her that her son was gonna be somebody. And Scott is still the rapper known for ragers and mosh pits and Astroworld madness, and he's completely vulnerable in this moment because Sarah Fuller Luna saw something in Jock, that's his real name, when he was just a kid struggling to get through school. She saw his spark, his boundless energy, his genius, and now he's included this reunion in his Netflix documentary, Look Mom, I Can Fly, because he wants the world to know this woman saved him. Because when someone literally changes the trajectory of your life, you don't forget. You make sure they know. And for some kids, a teacher becomes more than just an educator. They become a father, a Eeyore, a role model, the first man who showed them what kindness and belief actually look like.
As I haven't seen him for, 23, 24 years, and so he would now be expecting me to be 6 feet under, I would think.
Ian Wright is filming a documentary at Arsenal's Highbury Stadium in 2005, just walking around when he sees someone and freezes. Sidney Pigden, his primary school teacher from South London, the man he thought had passed away.
Mr. Pigden, you're alive. I'm alive, he says. How are you doing?
I can't believe it. Someone said you was dead.
Wright takes off his cap out of respect, still in disbelief, and covers his face with that same cap and breaks down crying. He later described it as crying like a 5-year-old because he never thought he'd see this man again. Pigden wasn't just a teacher to Wright. He grew up in an unstable home, and Pigden became his support system, his guiding light. Wright said Pigden literally turned my life around and taught him how to be a decent human being.
He was so supportive all the time. He kind of like had me as his kind of like special guy.
Years later, Wright dedicated his autobiography to Pigden, because how do you thank the person who saved you when you had nothing? Pigden passed away in 2018 at 95, but that reunion, that moment of seeing the man who believed in him, Wright will carry that forever. That's what a teacher can mean. So after all these stories, the believers, the protectors, the life changers, what do you do when a teacher impacts you so deeply that you create an entire Emmy-winning TV show just to honor what they do? 2022, Quinta Brunson is on Jimmy Kimmel talking about Abbott Elementary, her hit show about teachers. She mentions that she named it after her 6th grade teacher, Ms. Abbott, but hasn't seen her since then.
Yeah, it's probably 6th grade, but I got to talk to her recently.
You did? Well, let's talk to her again because we happen to have her on.
Ms. Abbott pops up on a video call and Quinta lets out a shriek. She's immediately in tears because this woman, this 6th grade teacher who taught her to speak in complete sentences, who built her confidence, who told her she could do anything if she worked hard, is now watching Quinta create an entire television show celebrating teachers. And it's named after her.
Wow.
So just very honored.
Did you know?
I was just so excited.
Did you ever imagine?
Quinta took a shy, timid 6th grader's experience and turned it into a cultural phenomenon, but she made sure the woman who started it all knew exactly what she meant to her. That's legacy. We've seen teachers inspire careers, protect students, and even save lives, but sometimes the impact runs so deep that decades later, because they were the closest thing to a father you ever had.
If you know what I know about growing up in the neighborhood, you're walking through Crips and Blood neighborhoods and SA gangs, and every day just to innocently go to school, you're putting it all on the line.
Tyrese is opening up during a 2019 Access Hollywood interview, discussing his move, Black and Blue, but the conversation quickly turns personal when he starts talking about his high school music teacher, Reggie Andrews. He's explaining how Reggie would drive him to school on the days he didn't have a quarter for the bus, so he wouldn't have to walk through dangerous parts of his neighborhood. Then the interviewer asks, "What would you say to Reggie now?"
If it was just one thing to him you could say, like just one thing.
One thing. Thank you.
Probably just like.
Thank you for being the father that I never had.
And that's when Reggie walks out. Tyrese loses it. They embrace. And you can see everything. All those mornings Reggie showed up. All those rides to school. All those moments when a teacher became so much more than a teacher. Reggie later describes young Tyrese as determined. But here's the thing. Determination only gets you so far when you don't have a quarter for the bus. Reggie saw a kid who needed help and didn't just teach him music. He showed up every single time. That's what being there looks like. And if you want to know just how powerful these reunions are, even the toughest, most legendary fighters in history become kids again the moment they see the teacher who believed in them, even the greatest of all time.
The kids have a message for you.
Muhammad Ali is on This Is Your Life when they surprise him with a video message from Mrs. Carter, his 3rd grade teacher. She's thanking him for the $10,000 check he wrote to the YWCA, where she became a director after teaching, and for showing up in person to give a speech at their event. The video ends, and then Mrs. Carter walks out in person.
Your former school mistress, Mrs. Glennis Carter. Miss Carter. And just a little drier, your old pal.
The greatest of all time, the man who stared down Sonny Liston, who fought through everything, who proclaimed himself the greatest, completely breaks down. He embraces her, and for a moment, he's just a kid again. The 3rd grader who sat in her class before the world knew Cassius Clay would become Muhammad Ali. Mrs. Carter saw him first, before the championships, before the fame, before the legend. She saw a boy and she believed in him. And decades later, that boy, now the most famous athlete on the planet still remembered. That's the power of a teacher who sees you.